That is what champions do. That is what the best teams in the world do. It is part of Liverpool's DNA. It's part of their fabric. It's part of their history, late goals. It just is. And there was a stat that went round when Sir Alex Ferguson retired. And it was the fact that, and people couldn't believe Liverpool had actually scored more goals in the Premier League era when Fergie was here in the 90th plus minute than Man United did. It was just that United were the better team and won the trophies and the accolades were there. But I'm just not sitting here surprised. I'm not sitting here in shock. This is why they're the best team in England. It's why they're the favourites for the Premier League. There is a know-how, there is a belief, there is something that is almost, I want to say tacit. That may not be the right word, but I don't even know if it's a belief the players always consciously have. I almost feel like it's a belief that is just ingrained within you. I'll give you an example. A domesticated cat, okay, doesn't think about hunting because it's never hungry. Domesticated dogs don't really think, most of them, most breeds, don't think about hunting and killing something because they're never hungry and they're domesticated. But every now and then, it happens a lot with cats, I'll see a bird and their prey instinct will kick in. Dogs, every now and then it will happen with. My dog is a German Shepherd, right? They're called, everyone sees them as police dogs and guard dogs, they are, but actually, originally they were sheep dogs. My dog, when he was a puppy, loves sheep. He hit a certain age where something just went bang. I think he wants to maul them, right? So I don't let him near them. And I feel like Liverpool's players have this within them. Sometimes it's almost dormant. Oh, they look like they're going to drop points. It looks like it's going to end. And they just find a way. Something clicks at a particular moment. And this instinct comes out that I don't even know they always believe they have. Players that have just joined, players that have been there 5 years, players that come through the academy. I don't know how to articulate it, but it's real. Just, you can't touch it. It isn't tangible to look at, to touch, but like gravity, it's there. And I don't think it can be denied. Now, look, in terms of Liverpool's performance, it wasn't great today. Lots of the ball, 27 shots on goal, but only 4 on target. And I think Liverpool fans, once they've calmed down, once they've had their moment, they'll be disappointed with that. They'll be disappointed having 81% of the ball and 4 attempts on goal. Not really challenging Dubravka, who's not a great goalkeeper, let's be honest. And I think Liverpool fans will have some cause for concern and will do what they can to encourage their team and push their team to perform better and create chances. Because I do feel that this Liverpool team, with all the signings, and it was something that was posed as a question to Hassam on our panels on the Football Terrace this summer, and it was very much, how do you think Liverpool are going to cope with all these new players coming in? And Hussam's answer, which I took at face value, and a lot of Liverpool fans agreed with it, is that, well, we've got the core. The core of the club is staying. The core of the title-winning team is staying. We're going to be okay. I think Liverpool have looked a little bit disjointed because of the amount of new signings that have come in, to a point where Szoboszlai is starting at right back instead of a young right back in Bradley or Frimpong, because I think Slot recognises he's got to keep some continuity as these relationships build. I personally think Kerkez needs to have some games on the bench for Liverpool. He does not look ready to be a Liverpool player yet, and there is a different pressure. And I spoke about this at large, that if Isak scores 20 goals for Liverpool this year and Wissa scores 20 goals for Newcastle, Isak's goals are better. Without even reviewing them, they're better because he's doing them at a bigger club and the pressure's harder. It is easier when you're a good player in a good team like Newcastle to score goals than it is under the pressure of playing for a Liverpool. You have to be an obscene talent. And this is, I take that from anecdotal conversations that you hear pros have, but whenever a player joins one of the giants, one of the juggernauts of football, they all tell you the pressure's different, the atmosphere is different, the media attention is different. For instance, look at the difference in attention that Wissa's getting compared to Isak for forcing a move, when it was very, very similar behaviour in my personal opinion. But that's another conversation for another day. Kerkez, I don't think he's ready yet. I don't think he is quite on the level to play and deliver in this Liverpool team. I feel very similarly with Wirtz, and maybe when Isak's fit, there's something the manager will do. Maybe there's something it will do in that regard. Because again, he run a lot today. He had some good touches. One thing that will help Wirtz when it comes to criticism, and this is a positive for him, is he passes the eye test even when he isn't doing too much. And when you pass the eye test, you do get away. He's a little bit, like good-looking men and women get away with a little bit more when they're bad at their job or they're not doing a good job. They smile a little bit or they're a little cheeky and they get away with it. That the ugly person, that 32-stone spotty fat man doesn't quite get away with it in the same way. But I don't think he's quite ready yet for the Premier League. He needs a bit of muscle. He needs a bit of time to settle. And you add these players in that are not quite clicking. And I actually think Mo Salah is nowhere near his level at the moment either. And he's been there a while. Now, I'm not blaming the new contract. I'm not going to do that low IQ nonsense. So there's a few seasoned pros that are not playing that well. A few new signings that are not quite settled. And Liverpool are just not quite at the races. But 4 games running. 4 games running. Basic last-minute winners. You can't bet against them, can you? Can you bet against them? Some are going to say this isn't sustainable. I agree if the performances stay at this level. If what we've seen in the last 4 games lasts another 34 matches, Liverpool won't win the league because they won't win every game with the last kick of the ball. That's an impossibility at every single level. It just is. But I don't think... I'll just read the comment here. No, I stand by what I've said. If Liverpool's performances stay like this for the next 34 games, they don't win the league. But they're not going to play like this for 34 games. They will start playing better, being better, creating better opportunities. This is going to happen. I feel it's almost inevitable that it will happen, which is why I think for Chelsea, why I think for Arsenal, why I think for Manchester City, these opening 4 games of the season must be so painful from a title challenging aspect. Because Liverpool will probably, I still think it's going to take them another 7 or 8 games from this point. A lot of people thought they beat Arsenal, watch them fly after the international break. I thought that could be true. I'm looking at it now. I think another 5-6 games where they may have a few hairy moments and not quite smashing teams they should be smashing. But they will click. But I don't know if they're going to drop very many points in those next 5, 6, 7 games as they're finding their feet. I don't think they're going to be dropping points everywhere. And that is the pain. That is the fear factor. That is a sobering moment for rivals. And I'm talking title rivals here. It's horrible for me to see as a Man United fan, but I'm not trying to win the title this year. I know my club's going to be nowhere near it. So that element isn't painful. But it's the fact that this Liverpool team is almost impossible to beat right now. Almost impossible to beat. Almost impossible to stop scoring. Well, in fact, only once in the last year have they not scored. So for the last calendar year, it has been impossible to stop them scoring in the Premier League. And as I stated at the beginning of the season, and I feel today is an element of vindication to this opinion, it's going to take one of the best managerial performances of their careers, maybe a Premier League history, from a Mikel Arteta or even a Pep, to win this Premier League title, because Liverpool are simply that good. They're simply at an outstanding level. We've only seen this a handful of times in the Premier League. We saw Pep's... Centurions were good, but they competed against no one. And the league was very weak back then. Even Klopp's Liverpool weren't very good back then. Pep's treble-winning team and four-peat team, one of the greatest English football's ever seen. Man United between sort of 07 and 09. Man United's treble-winning team that went on to do a three-peat. Chelsea's back-to-back title winners. This Liverpool team is on their level. On their level. And by the way, forget points. I don't care that maybe one of Pep's teams got more points or one of Jose's teams got more points or had a better defensive. I don't care about those records. These teams are all in this league of their own. This Liverpool team is that good. Do you know how I know this? Because all those teams I've mentioned could go 3, 4, 5 games where they weren't very good, but they were still winning. They get those late winners, those champions wins. It's why I call them it. I've recognised it and seen it my whole life. And this is just a fantastic level indeed. It really, really is. And there'll be some cause for concern from Liverpool fans. I don't think you've got much to worry about at all. I think you're clicking in the next in the next handful of games, like I mentioned. You're still winning and you're hurting rivals. But look, I want to get your views. I want to get your opinions on this in the comments section below. We're going to bring the panel out in a minute because obviously the big Manchester derby kicks off soon, but hit like buttons, make sure you're subscribing and get that bell notification button turned on as well.